Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is J.R. Moore coming to you live from deep in the mountains of the Missouri Ozarks on Monday, the 16th day of October, year of our Lord 2017, and welcome to the John Moore Show. Your prepper tip of the day. I haven't mentioned this for quite a while. I think I'm the only talk show host that I'm aware of that talks about this particular item. It's almost winter, getting cool. We're getting temperatures in the 30s already here in south central Missouri. Prepper tip of the day is get yourself a good supply, if you don't have them already, of merino wool socks. Quite frankly, I wear mine all year long. It doesn't matter whether it's 10 degrees or 110 degrees. My feet are quite comfortable wearing merino wool socks. You want to check out Sportsman's Guide, Amazon, eBay, to get your merino wool socks. Wherever you get the best deal, that's where you should get your socks. Okay, we have patient waiting in the green room, my friend Jimmy Ginsling. Jimmy is the CEO, the proprietor of Desert Eagle Shooters. That website is deserteagleshooters.com. This is Firearms Monday, and we talk about firearms and everything related to them. Good morning, Jimmy.
Good morning, sir. If you hear something kind of chunking along in the background, the last page of coming off the printer. And it's been a very, very busy weekend here. Had a lot of things going on, getting ready for the hunting season for folks and getting them outfitted and things like that. Before we get started off this morning, John, one of our listeners, I've been chit-chatting back and forth with him on some gun issues and a few other things. Mr. Goodman, his daughter, Amanda, is going to be going into surgery tomorrow. And I would like to, if we could, offer up a little bit of prayer for him, and then, of course, any of our other listeners and stuff out there this morning, kind of kick off the week.
Well, let's do that. Please proceed, Jimmy.
Father, we just come to you, and we just praise you, and we thank you for the blessings and many gifts that you give us, Father, some seen and some unseen. But the most precious gift of all that you give us, Father, is our friends. People have thousands upon thousands of acquaintances and associations. But our friends, Father, those are made, and those are just special gifts, Father. Father, Mr. Goodman's daughter is going to be going into surgery tomorrow. And, Father, we just ask that you give all the doctors, the nurses, technicians and everything, special skill, and special insight, Father, as the needs that need to be done. And when she comes out and everything, Father, then she's healthy and happy. And, Father, just the situations that they're doing this for is taken care of. Father, we've got many other listeners out there that we don't know their needs, but you do. And the only thing that we can ask, Father, is that those that may be looking for answers, those that may be looking for some compassion, some that may feel lonely or hurt, Father, we just ask that you touch them, lift them up, and let them know that there are people that do care about them. Father, be with our police officers, our troops, all of those that are in harm's way. We ask you, Father, to put a hedge of angels about them and keep them safe and bring them home to their families. In the holy, most precious name of your Son, Jesus Christ, we ask these things. Amen.
Amen. Okay, Jimmy, you and I haven't talked about night vision in quite a while. This is radio. There's people who've never heard us talk about any of these matters. And I was reading an article this morning on Survival Blog, Jim Rawls' website, and it reminded me about how very important night vision is, and that even the inexpensive entry-level stuff, even though it's not that good, is better than nothing at all, isn't it?
Oh, yes, sir. And one thing for people to look at, especially those on a budget, we carry a few of them here. In fact, I've got to look at our inventory and see where we are because we are coming up to the holiday season. And for those that are on a budget, one of the best options I can offer is for them to look at the digital night vision. Normally they run around $200 or less for the little monoculars, but they are so good for a couple of good reasons. One, they have incredible battery life. When you're looking at your night vision, look at it, and first thing that you should focus on is the battery. If it uses CR123s or things like that that are kind of a specialty battery, look and see if they don't offer something that uses either AA or in some cases AAAs, just regular batteries. Those, you can use the rechargeable batteries in them. You'll swap them out a little bit quicker, but the nice part is you'll always have batteries available.
Right.
And the other thing is they almost all have day-night capability. So in daylight, they're just a little, maybe a 4-power monocular, but at night they shine, pun intended, that you not only have the night vision, but most of the digital ones also have a record mode.
Right.
So that if you're using it in, let's say your neighborhood, you've got, you've had a series of break-ins down the street or several blocks over or something like that, and you get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to let the dog out the back and notice someone poking around your neighbor's yard, well, 2 things. 1, immediately call 911 and let them know what's going on. And at the same time, grab your handy-dandy little digital night vision and record the guy, just in case that he hears the police coming and takes off running. You've got him on video. You can take the SD card or whatever out of your night vision and give it to the police, and there they go.
Well, Jimmy, actually, digital night vision is actually TV cameras. They're not traditional night vision in the way we normally think of it, are they?
Exactly. And to correct what I just said, I realized at about the moment that I paused. Rather than give them your SD card, burn that to a disk or thumb drive or something and give them that. Keep your original card. 2 reasons for that. 1, the programming for some of these is not really compatible with other things, and in trying to set it up, it's been erased. Don't ask me how I know this. I'll just let you know that it can happen, and especially when you're running Windows XP on a computer. But these units, they're not really expensive. They are very compact, and not everybody's going to be out there sniping people in the dark. Night vision is to give you an advantage on the bad guys, or in our case out here a lot of times, the advantage on the skunks. We've killed more skunks this year, and I think we have in the last 10 altogether.
Really?
But it's something to look into, folks. And like John says, any night vision is better than no night vision at all.
Right. Yeah, I've seen the same thing with pistols. Usually the people that want to buy a Kimber, the ones I've talked to, are people who don't own a pistol, and they want to impress me with their knowledge of what they feel the best 1911 would be. In the meantime, while they don't have the money to spend for a $2,000 Kimber, they don't own a pistol at all, which kind of strikes me as being unusual, doesn't it, you, Jimmy?
Yes, sir. The best 1911 I've ever owned had a pony on the side of it, and I carried it my entire time in the Coast Guard. You could rattle that thing, and it sounded like a pair of castanets. But my goodness, the thing never failed to function and never failed to do exactly what it was supposed to do. And even though it rattled a lot, I could still sit there and keep, 21 rounds in a 6-inch pipe blade at 25 yards with it. So that's a testament to the weapon itself.
Absolutely. Well, the 1911 has stood the test of time, and the U.S. Marine Corps, after a 20-year-plus hiatus, has gone back to essentially a traditional 1911 with some very slight modifications, such as a rail to mount a flashlight on is the only modification I can think of. While the U.S. Army is more politically correct and has chosen another pistol, which I don't particularly care for. Do you, Jimmy?
I'm not. I cannot give a definitive on that because I've never fired one. But you know, it's the standing joke. I remember. I can't remember which astronaut said it, but they were interviewing one of the astronauts about their recent trip around the moon and everything, and he said, you know, the only thing disheartening about the whole thing is that you're going all this way and depending on something that was put together by a group of the lowest bidders.
Yep, that's very true.
That's, again, whenever you look at weapons platforms and everything, the one thing that's always amazed me, they talked about new platforms and everything for the Marines and this and that and new calibers. And the one question, and I brought this up to our Congressman Steve Pierce, why not let them decide on a new caliber, and then rather than sinking all of this money, millions and millions of dollars, into brand new systems, just replace the uppers. That way they get a new caliber that functions in the same equipment they've got, and if anything ever happens, if there's a quality recall or anything like that, like happened with the 9 mils back in the 90s, all they got to do is pull the uppers off and drop another upper on, and they're back in business. Never ceases to amaze me. So, and talked to him, and he says, well, some of them talk about going to a gas piston system, and I'm like, you can still do that on the same upper. And again, the only modification that you've got to make is possibly a bolt. So, go figure. I'll never understand it.
Well, I'm not a big fan of that platform to begin with. Eugene Stoner invented the AR-15, M16, M4, basically all the same. He realized the error of his ways, and he's the guy who invented it in the first place. And he developed the AR-18, AR-180 to correct the massive mistakes he made. And knowing that they were his mistakes, knowing that he was the inventor, he walked away from that and invented the AR-18, AR-180 platform to take the place of the AR-15, M16, M4. And here we're stuck half a century later with a defective platform that still a brand new state-of-the-art M4 carbine, M16, still starts jamming between 300 and 400 rounds because of the defective design that the inventor himself recognized as being defective. But getting back to night vision, Jimmy, what night vision do you offer at DesertEagleShooters.com?
Right now, as far as the scopes go, we're discontinuing carrying the ones that we have been. The Firesight and a couple of the other ones like that, and we're going strictly with the new digital that we've talked about. And I have a few of the Gen 1s rifle scopes still available, and a few of the Gen 1 the regular monoculars. The Firefield monoculars that we've got, they really are a good basic unit. Price-wise, they're in the, I think Teresa has got those marked down to like $400 right now, and I think we've got 2 of them left that have the headpiece and everything on them. And it's the type, it's left or right eye. You can switch it around and everything, flip up headpiece so that you've got the monocular right in front of your face and both your hands are free. And right now we're looking at anything that we're going to be carrying from now on is going to be in the digital platform. And the main reason for that is battery life and ease of operation on them. Like you said, it's a digital camera that you're looking through. And, people will say, well, this or that or something else, or EMP will take it out, and I have to inform them that if EMP takes that one out, it takes everybody else's as well.
Right.
So it's a moot point. But now the night vision scopes that we've got that are the Gen 1s are actually the Russian versions, and they're quite a bit lighter than their predecessors because it's a combination of titanium aluminum alloy frames on them. So, and again, they operate off of AA batteries.
Right. Well, initially, the Russian night vision coming to this country, we're talking 20, 25 years ago, was basically the same as they issued to the Russian military and took specialized, almost impossible to get batteries. They've changed all that, haven't they, Jimmy?
Oh, yes, sir. In fact, some of their newest that is coming in, they have replaceable batteries on them. Most of those, I think, are running the CR123s, which are the little fat 3-volt batteries. And some of them have a built-in rechargeable lithium battery. Those the jury is still out on because of the cycle rate and discharge rate of the lithium. They're not really sure if they might have a potential, as the laptops and some of the cell phones did with the lithium batteries. The point on that, and I'm glad you mentioned it because it brought it up.
Hold that thought, Jimmy. We got a break. Stay tuned. Call number is 800-313-9443. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. It's taken 3 years before I could offer the inter-shelter domes for sale. During those 3 years, several different governments and militaries were taking all their production. The inter-shelter dome homes may be just what you've been looking for to provide affordable, energy-efficient, permanent, and attractive housing. These dome homes are prefabricated units that can be assembled in a few hours by 2 men with a ladder and simple hand tools. Check out the photos of these dome homes built in the Arctic, on tropical beaches, in suburban areas, and in forests. All the details, many photographs, and the pricing of the dome homes are listed on the left-hand side of my homepage at thelibertyman.com. I think you'll find these homes are not only attractive, but they're energy efficient, and a bonus. You can disassemble them and reassemble them as many times as you feel you need to. Pretty great, huh? Something that's very, very unique. Check them out at my website at thelibertyman.com. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Monday, the 16th of October, visiting with Jimmy Ginsling, CEO of Desert Eagle Shooters. That's deserteagleshooters.com. Jimmy, we got a caller on hold here. We got Mark in Oregon. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Mark.
Hey, John, Mr. Moore. I had a question on a certain pistol. It's made by a company by the name Keltec, and it's the PMR 30 22 Magnum, and it holds a 30-round clip. Do you know anything about that pistol, if it has any problems?
No problems that I'm aware of. I know I've got several, well, actually, 2 friends and a couple of acquaintances that own them, and I love the darn thing.
Yeah.
What's going on with yours?
Oh, I haven't got one. I just a friend of mine had trouble with his chamber in a couple of rounds. He thought it was the ammunition. I guess the bullet actually came out of the shell. But I was just curious if there was anything wrong with them.
Mark, let me jump right in here, Mark. What do you want to do, Mark, with any semi-automatic, whether it's a rifle or a pistol, is test 8 or 10 different types of ammunition, different manufacturers, different types, and run, I would say, at least 50 rounds through of each type to find which one cycles flawlessly. There's a rule of thumb here, Mark, with some exceptions. Almost all semi-automatic rifles, shotguns, and pistols, especially rifles and pistols, are ammunition sensitive. Now, once you've determined what cycles through there flawlessly, now what I've done for myself is make up a label to attach to some discrete place on the buttstock or the grip, listing those 1 or 2 types of ammunition that you know for a fact will function flawlessly. Any follow up there, Jimmy?
No, sir. No, you've got that one nailed perfectly. And
yeah, I'll do that.
The PMR 30, I highly recommend it because John knows what I'm going to talk about. When back in the late 60s, early 70s, when the 1022 first came out, Ruger immediately started playing with the idea of a 22 mag version, and actually built it. And after, not very long, I don't even think it was a full year, they started recalling them because they were having severe problems with them. And they also tried to do them in a pistol, and again, problems with them. Kel-Tec, I don't know what their secret is, but they solved the 22 Magnum auto-loading dilemmas in both pistol and rifles. And like I said, I've got 2 very good friends and several acquaintances that have them, and they are a flawless piece of equipment. I just love them.
All right. Well, thank you, too. I appreciate
Good luck, Mark.
all
Have
you
fun
do
with your new pistol. Have fun with your new
Mark,
pistol.
Thank you.
One other thing before you leave.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
One thing to remember on Kel-Tec, they have got a lifetime warranty on their gun.
Oh.
And if anything fails, or if you even think it fails, and you give them a call, believe me, they will bend over backwards up to the point of prepaid shipping, packaging, and everything to take a look at it. If nothing's wrong with it, they don't bill you for anything. They simply let you know what they and what the cure was, and they send it back.
Okay. Well, thank you guys very much.
Okay, Mark, you're more than welcome.
Have you had a chance to play with one of those, John?
I have not.
PMR 30?
No, sir. I'm looking forward to that. I haven't had the opportunity yet, but there was an earlier version, and not done by Kel-Tec. I forget the name of the manufacturer that did a semi-auto 22 mag. Towards the end of the run of producing those, the CIA bought up their entire production run of what was left. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's our break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Monday, the 16th of October. My website is thelibertyman.com. That's thelibertyman.com. If you haven't been there for a while, we have new images of continents with new coastlines, some very recent, just posted in the last 5 or 6 days. It's a fun project. I wouldn't hazard to guess how many hundreds of thousands of movies and TV shows there's been produced the last 60-plus years. Obviously, one person can't review all of them. If you find an image of a continent with new coastlines, you do a screen capture, get that image to me. You get your choice of any of my 5 DVDs. It's a fun project. It's called predictive programming, by the way. It's been in our face for more than 60 years. And I look forward to seeing more of these images. Also, on my website, of course, are energy cleaners for sale. A marvelous healing device. That's what they are. Are you an energy cleaner procrastinator? Are you an energy cleaner procrastinator? You've heard me talk about this for some period of time. You're wondering, you're pondering, and in the meantime, you have joint pain. In the meantime, you have arthritis pain. You're not getting a great night's sleep. What in the world are you waiting for? Get yourself an energy cleaner. Are you risking anything when you spend that $285? No, because I offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. Mr. Statmiller would not tolerate me being on this radio network for a New York minute if I didn't honor that guarantee. And I do. I honor that guarantee. 30-day money-back guarantee on the energy cleaner. Check out the details at my website at thelibertyman.com. Check out the factory-made fitted mattress pads that go with the energy cleaner. I do take PayPal, MasterCard, Visa. PayPal, of course, the most secure way to make any payment online. Checks can be sent to my address at thelibertyman.com. Toll-free order line, here it is, 24 hours a day, 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. Visiting with Jimmy Gensling, the CEO, proprietor of Desert Eagle Shooters. That's deserteagleshooters.com. Talking about firearms this morning, we're talking about optics. And Jimmy, for a number of years, I've referred to weapon sights that have an illuminated reticle as quote-unquote poor man's night vision for the following reason. There's usually enough ambient light to kind of sort of tell where your target is. Of course, target identification is critical. You don't want to be shooting an innocent person. On one hand, on the battlefield, that's usually a little bit more defined. But typically, you can see the target, but you can't see those iron sights or the reticle of a non-illuminated scope, can you, Jimmy?
No, sir. No, that's always been our drawback. And interesting. Now, ladies and gentlemen, John and I did not collude on this, since that's a new politically correct word, at all. But I was going to let you know this morning, John, that Teresa and I, through effort and time and everything, last week became authorized dealers and warranty center for Williams rifle and handgun sights. And Williams has been around, ladies and gentlemen, since the late 1800s, early 1900s on replacement sights and everything for rifles. The receiver sights, the peep sights, the match sights, and everything. Williams has been on part of that industry for over 100 years. And we just got the dealership on those. And on my 1911s, my favorite sight on those is called the Williams Fire Sight. And it is the green illuminated at the rear with the red in the front sight. And the slightest amount of ambient light, the moon shining through a window in your house or a street light shining in, those sights immediately they're there. And just make excellent sights for low light conditions. And like you said, with the scopes and everything, the illuminated reticle, always, ladies and gentlemen, if you've got a scope or an optic with illuminated reticle, as you're starting to transition into that half light and everything, go to the lowest setting on that and then gradually click up so that you can just barely discern your sights in that light. Too many people will automatically go to the highest setting, and your eye with the light and everything else, it'll flood your target, especially if it's
right. Right. Well, that high setting's meant for daytime use is what that's for.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's exactly what people need to do, is use the lower setting that it still gives you, especially if you're looking for pinpoint accuracy. And frequently pinpoint accuracy is the only thing that's going to accomplish your goal, right, Jimmy?
Exactly. Aim small, miss small. But now this is something that most people don't understand. It's the same way with night vision with an illuminator. If you're in a daylight situation and your target is in shadow, let's say it's you've got a badger or something that you've really been trying to get, and it's back up in a hole or under a deck or something where it's in deep shadow, and you're looking for that critter with a regular scope, again, you run into the same thing looking into shadow at daytime than you do with being able to see your target but not your crosshairs in the evening. If you take and turn the illuminated reticles on, because you can still see the badger back up under there wherever it is, but you lose your crosshairs. By turning on the illumination in daylight, then you illuminate the crosshairs and you can alleviate the problem. Another thing on those, ladies and gentlemen, is get used to, practice with them in that low light, because your eyes are going to be shifting. We've always talked about focusing on the crosshairs or focus on the front sight when we're shooting. When you're using illuminated reticles, the iris on your eye is going to be slightly confused, and it's going to take just a moment for it to get accustomed to the reticle and the ambient light where you have a real clear focus. One of the exercises that we like to do in some of our training programs is we'll set up on the 100-yard range, we will set several different items on a piece of plywood at 100 yards. A hammer, a handgun, we'll use airsoft pistols, different items down there, about 5 or 6 different items, and let people identify the items and sketch it on their notepad. And then we will wait until the sun starts going down and we start getting the long shadows and everything. And then one of the instructors will go down and they'll move a couple of things around. And, the whole time that this is going on, no one is watching the range. They're talking and looking away from the range. When it gets down to where the sun is below the sun, the horizon, and we're into that half light, then everybody gets on position. And, of course, we do this with the rifles cleared, especially with anybody in front of the firing line, and go through and identify their targets again and write them down and, do their little sketch of what is where. And you don't have to be an artist. The way we tell folks is just you draw the outline of the plywood, and the pistol's in the top left corner, so you draw a box and write pistol, and the hammer is next to it, and you draw a box with hammer. Do that across there, and then look, after everybody's got that done, get up, turn around, and it gets iffy then because your light is changing so quickly. But they'll go down and they'll make one more adjustment of something and come back and then sit there and have them identify it as the light is diminishing. And it is amazing people get really educated on, as the shadows get longer and the light gets less, it gets difficult to identify things.
I learned that as a boy. I spent summers with my grandmother in the Ozarks, and I would be in the woods basically all day long except to eat lunch. And when it was time to come home in the evening, I noticed that it would get dark in the woods, thick, dense woods, of course, in these Ozarks in the summertime, much more quickly than out in the open areas. And I also noticed that things are very different when it gets dark. And the darker it gets, the more different things become. And I learned that as a 8-year-old, which I've always kept in mind. Of course, I spent a lot more time in the woods in Special Forces and the Army and other assignments. But things are different as it gets darker, aren't they, Jimmy?
Oh, yes, sir. And the first thing, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to affect everything is your depth perception. Not that one thing is further away than another, but how much further away it is. My bride, at driving at night and everything, she has not a dangerous, but a slight depth perception problem when it gets dark. And you add headlights to the car or a spotlight on your head or anything, that only exacerbates the problem. What I try to get people to understand, if you have clear skies and a half a moon or better, learn to use your night vision. And by that, ladies and gentlemen, I mean go out and take 15 to 30 minutes to let your eyes get accustomed to the ambient light and then start moving around. You will be amazed. It does not affect your depth perception nearly as bad once your eyes are adjusted. And your target identification, your hazards walking on the trail or whatever is much more acute if you only allow your eyes to get accustomed to it and stop using the flashlight. And the only time that I really use a flashlight, and even then I prefer a red lens on it, is when it is dark. Out here I affectionately call it inside the darker than the inside of a cow. No moon, no stars, overcast, and I mean there's no ambient light out here where we live. No traffic lights, no signs, no nothing. When it gets dark out here, it gets dark. And even with it like that, you allow your night, my brain just quit, John. You allow your eyes to get accustomed to it, and then when you turn on a flashlight that has a red lens cover on it, it's almost like having a white light out there now. And it's getting acclimated and accustomed to it, ladies and gentlemen. You get used to the changes, and you allow your body to put these experiences back in its memory banks, and then when you do it for real, looking for the skunk in the dark or whatever that's terrorizing the chickens, it is much easier to sit there and distinguish what you're looking for between feeders and the doorway to the chicken coop or the ramp or other things like that. So learning to use your own night vision, and it makes life just a little bit easier and less dependent on electronics and artificial light.
Well, that's good. It would be good practice. Which brings to mind the Hollywood and popular portrayals of pirates wearing a patch over their eye. They wore those patches when they were getting ready to board another ship, and that was so that they would have one eye that would be suitable for the dark rooms inside the ship, and they could still see going from the bright sunlight into the dark recesses below deck. That's why they wore the patch on their eye.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Never heard that one, John.
Right.
Makes perfect sense.
Well, it does. No, because it's you're going below decks armed and to take on other armed men who have good vision below decks. You need to be able to see what's going on down there to defend your life properly. So yes, I encourage people, and I know when I walk around here, I rarely use a flashlight walking around my ranch here at night. If I have to identify a key to open a lock, I'll have a flashlight handy. But just to make sure that I maintain my own night vision, I walk around here at night with no flashlight all the time. It's good training.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and it makes a very, very big difference. Now, caveat to this, ladies and gentlemen, if any of you are smokers, which I am, if you want to really just totally destroy your night vision, your human night vision, not electronic or electrical, light up a smoke right after you've gotten your eyes accustomed and everything. That glowing ember on the end of that will eliminate about 70% of your useful night vision on it. So, also, if you are in a hostile environment and everything, it makes you a target. So, just food for thought on that one. The getting back to the night vision goggles and everything, our ATN line that we're carrying now, we're like I said before, we're gradually going strictly to that just because the product availability and also the keeping quality.
Hold on. We have a break here. Jimmy. Hold on. We have a break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, we are back, listening. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Monday, the 16th of October, visiting with Jimmy Ginsling. We're talking about firearms and related matters. Let's continue, Jimmy. Hello, Jimmy. Take your phone off. Mute there, Jimmy.
Okay, how's that?
That's better.
Okay, it wasn't on mute. That's weird. I'm going to have to get me a new phone, I think. These are finally getting really tired, I guess. We were talking about we're basically selling off, reducing inventory, I guess is the proper way of putting it, on some of the items that we've been carrying. So, people are looking for night vision right now and to save a little bit more money than we normally try to save people. They can email us at jimmy@hdc-nm.com or go to deserteagleshooters.com and use the contact on there. Two things, John. One, Mr. Ross, I am working on your OOPS kits for everything. I'm having a problem on emailing some people back, I don't know why, from the contact page. I think I'm going to have Tim go ahead and just write in my regular email address on that as well. And then it might be on the other contact page on the website as well. But also, Mr. Williams, the one that contacted me off the contact page about the body armor, my emails to you keep bouncing. So if you would, email me direct at jimmy@hdc-nm.com or give me a call after the show, of course, at 575-513-2842. And I'll answer your questions on the body armor and get you the information you need. But technology is great, John, as long as it works. Again, on the night vision, any night vision is better than no night vision at all. If you've got some money tucked back and you would like to get a monocular, which is my first recommendation, look at the digital models. Most of them are $200 or less. We're getting ready to order in a couple more of the lower priced ones and everything, what I call entry level, but don't take that as an insult, ladies and gentlemen. Entry level is just meaning it's your first experience with them, is what I'm referring to. They're not cheap, they're not poorly made or anything like that. They're a monocular. Normally they're 1 to 3 to 4 power magnification. And another thing that people tend to do that hinders them is in getting night vision is they get one with a lot of magnification. And that actually causes more problems than it helps. Now, one of the ones that we've got in stock right now that is going into our discontinued.
We got a top of the hour break, Jimmy. Top of the hour break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here, our second hour on Monday, the 16th of October. Prepper tip of the day. Winter is right around the corner. If you don't have a good supply of merino wool socks, I urge you to get a good supply. I would say at least 8 or 10 pair minimum. I wear mine all year long. It doesn't matter if it's minus 10 or 110. My merino wool socks are quite comfortable, as opposed to wearing cotton socks in the summertime, which you end up with cold, clammy feet. Not fun. So get yourself a good supply of merino wool socks. You'll be very glad you did. That's your prepper tip of the day. Visiting with Jimmy Ginsling, the proprietor, CEO of Desert Eagle Shooters. That's DesertEagleShooters.com. We're talking about firearms and related matters, particularly night vision this morning. If you got a question or a comment, give us a call at 800-313-9443. Let's continue, Jimmy.
All right. We were discussing the night vision and everything on that. Additional point to your tip of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, out here in southeast New Mexico, along about June, it gets very, very warm on the first pass of the sun going north. And we have days out here that get into, I've seen it here in Lakewood, up to 121. And believe me, merino socks, wool socks, are far more comfortable to be wearing than cotton socks, because in the temperatures like that, if I'm wearing cotton socks, it takes roughly about an hour of being outside working, and it feels like I'm walking around in hip waders that have a leak in them.
Squish, squish, squish.
Squish, 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 slosh, slosh, slosh.
It's counterintuitive. To people who don't know what we're talking about, it's counterintuitive. What do you mean wear wool socks when it's 100 degrees? Well, that's what works, and this is the voice of experience. I've been wearing merino wool socks now, I guess for about 18, 19 years or so, and looking back on the decades before that, when I wore cotton socks in the summertime, I didn't know what I was missing, Jimmy.
Had caught me there with some coffee.
It's okay.
Yeah. It's just good old black coffee. But, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is the word of wisdom, because I don't care if your feet in the wintertime, when I used to run the trap lines and everything in West Texas, and you're out there, your feet are nice and warm, and you step on that one spot along the edge of the creek, and all of a sudden you're halfway up your calf in cold water. Yeah, your feet just got wet. Yeah, everything is going to be very, very cold. But the nice part about it is wool socks or woolen underwear, long johns, whatever that are wool, will keep you warm, wet, or dry. Cotton, it's an entirely different matter. If you dunk your feet like that with cotton socks, your feet are going to get cold, they're going to stay cold, and you might even get frostbite.
Right.
So,
well,
still want to get out of it if possible.
Among men and women who spend a lot of time outdoors, either for sport or as farmers, construction workers, ranchers, there's a term that we need to bring to mind here. Cotton is the fabric of death.
Yes.
If you haven't heard that before, it's a true statement. Cotton is the fabric of death. And if you're living an urban, suburban life where you spend most of your time in climate-controlled conditions, cotton is just fine. No problem. No sweat, GI. But if you're outdoors a lot, for whatever reason, you will find out that what Jimmy and I are talking about is very true. Jimmy, we got another caller on hold here. We got Rich in Oklahoma. Good morning, Rich.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, John. Morning, Jim. First, John, I got to tell you, you're brilliant, and I love your show. And I've been here and there listening on the spot, but not as much as I would like. And I've heard your request for support. I'm going to see what I can do for you, brother. Secondly, I'm looking for a purge kit for the NVGs, the little adapter, so I can get some nitrogen in there to get that humidity out of the optics. And I don't know what to do about it, actually.
I got my thoughts. Jimmy, go ahead. I may have a follow-up, but you go ahead, Jimmy, with your thoughts.
The only way that I've been known to do those, Rich, is to send them back to the factory.
That was what I was going to say. Yep.
The way they do it is, again, thanks to robotics, the modern way of doing it is they have all those scopes and everything that once they're almost fully assembled, they go into they're in a rack that is holding them one way or the other, and all of the glass screws and covers and everything are screwed down, and everything is tightened except for one, which is, depending on the manufacturer of the scope and everything, it can be one of the base plate screws, it can be something else. But that one item is left loose, and when it goes into this chamber, the first thing is done is they pull a complete vacuum to something like, I think it's like 18 or 20 atmospheres, so that it's an absolute perfect vacuum, and they hold that for X number of minutes, and then instead of just releasing the vacuum, as they're doing that, they're actually replacing everything from the vacuum. It's sucking off of a nitrogen tank. And
right.
That the entire area with nitrogen, and then when it comes out of that, those screws are immediately tightened up. So the scopes and everything are not actually pressurized with nitrogen. They just have a nitrogen atmosphere inside.
We used to have a little regulator on a big nitrogen tank with a hand pump, and we'd set that to about 10 psi, and there'd be a little purge screw in the bottom of the device, and we would take that screw out, and it's got a cute little rubber gasket. Put that hand pump it up to about 10 psi, and cap it right away. And it was something we did, I think, every 6 months, and it just kept them fresh, kept the humidity. Anytime you get compressed air, you're going to get humidity, and at the same time, those electronics, they got to have a decent amount of voltage. And what we had to do was get solar chargers for nickel cadmiums, so that we weren't constantly looking for batteries, and it was a constant use a good lint-free lens cloth, keep the optics clean, and keep your batteries charged on the solar panel all day so that you can go out and do things at night without, because your optics are only as good as your battery.
Oh, yeah. Now, tip, and you may already know this one, I'm a big fan of Harbor Freight. I'm sorry, it's just one of those things, and since they put one in Carlsbad, I'm happier because I don't have to drive 250 miles to find one. But in Harbor Freight, back in their little solar department and everything, they have a very small box charger, and you pop the back off of it, and it's got space in it for either 4 D batteries, 4 C batteries, 4 AA, or 4 AAA rechargeable batteries. And you can put your batteries in there and just leave that thing laying outside. It is weatherproof, they say. I haven't tested it. But just leave it out, and that will keep your batteries at a nice charge all the time. I think this thing is just so incredibly expensive. I think it's like $12.
Yeah.
But it's a handy little item to have. Yeah, I've got 3 of them, and one of them I keep setting in the window in the dining room just for that purpose, and then I've got one in the shop, and then I've got one in the truck. So, yeah, that's a good idea on doing that and keeping them charged. But as far as the purging kit, I'm not aware. One could more than likely be made on it. Like you said, make sure you have a regulator so that you could regulate the pressure.
Well, they're brilliant devices. You can do amazing things, and the neat thing about it is you don't have to attach them to a weapon. It's also really nice just to, when you hear something, to not turn on a light. And if you can get yourself positioned in a area of lesser light than the ambient light, because there is light at night, especially if you're poking around looking through one of these things, you'll be amazed at how far light travels through even the bottom of the barrel tines. The ones that you get that aren't super expensive are absolutely amazing. And the other thing you have to realize, the more available it becomes to us, the more available it is going to be for everybody else, and they're going to get their goods. They're going to have what they need, and then we're going to be at a disadvantage. So it's a matter of time where it's not going to be optional anymore. It's going to be something that's required. Even if if you're trying to be beating the heat, like you said in New Mexico, how ungodly hot that gets, you want to move at night. You want to become a night creature. You can burn less calories, drink less water, but you have to be diligent and you have to be observant. And once you have what you need, you're going to see how easy it is to adapt and get things done in the dark with one of these things. It's really neat.
The exercises that we like to work with people on them is to do a night hike with night vision. And we always start off on a road, dirt or paved, and then once people are accustomed to walking, because you're going to walk like Frankenstein, ladies and gentlemen, the first time you try this, building a confidence factor in yourself. But then we'll start going down some trails that have a little bit of ups and downs and a few little rough spots and some brush, and then back out to the road and then back here. And getting accustomed to them is the hardest point, because it's a trust factor. You're learning to trust a piece of equipment and to trust yourself. And so it gets to be quite an interesting project sometimes.
It's a great thing. It's not like those starlight scopes that John's used to back in the day, those big, heavy, grayscale black and white things.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to carry 3 pounds with you anymore. Those days are gone.
Yep. And they're still out there. And In fact, the Russian models that we carry are a modern variation of that exact same scope. But they're down now. I think they weigh somewhere around 18 to 20 ounces, which is a little bit over a pound, but nowhere near what the classic weight was on them. Did you ever use any of those when you were in Nam, John?
I never had access to them, but most of the ones being sold now, the Vietnam era stuff, are Israeli military surplus that the Israeli military got a hold of and refurbished, and they're back on the market. I think you could drive a 16-penny nail through a 2x4 with one of those, the way they're built.
Yeah.
That's pretty close to right, yep. They're definitely overbuilt. That is for sure. But you know, like I was saying at the beginning, the small digital ones out there are just phenomenal. The one that I think we've got a couple of those left, have a zoom in them as well as a record. And it's interesting just to sit out there at night sometimes and just look around and see. People think nighttime is everybody sleeps. No, that's when the animals are about.
Yep.
Man will rest.
And what's amazing, they don't know that, they don't know you're watching them. They'll look right at you thinking that you're blind, and you can see a lot of stuff at night. It's worth staying up for.
Oh yeah, it really is, and never go camping without it. Lay right there in the door of the tent, just unzip it a little bit and scan around the campground and the forest and just see who's watching you. And one of the creepiest thing in the world, ladies and gentlemen, is to be doing that and look at an owl with night vision. It's just something about them. They almost turn iridescent in the night vision. They look really, really creepy. So, but then again, it's just the nature of the creatures and the technology nowadays. But,
well, gentlemen, I'm going to have to disappear.
Okay, thanks
right.
for the call. Okay, appreciate
Thanks
it.
for what you do.
Thank you very much. Call number is 800-313-9443. There's always something new to learn, isn't there, Jimmy?
Oh, yeah. And that's one of the reasons I enjoy this show so much, because you've said it before. We've got some of the most educated listeners in the world. And that is a true statement in the world. I mean, John's show goes all around. I think I looked last time, it was like 11 continents the other day on that little map that we're listening at the time. So it goes out, and information is a two-way street, ladies and gentlemen. We may teach you a little bit of something here, and then you can take that and teach it on to your children or your spouse or your friends. And that's how we work. I mean, the chance of something happening in the near future, I think, John, is closer now than it has been. So many things going on, so many threats. Have a president that's not a member of the club, and nobody can stand it. And ladies and gentlemen, now is the time to get equipped, get your ammo supplies up.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. We got a break, Jimmy. Everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back. Gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. It's taken 3 years before I could offer the inter-shelter domes for sale. During those 3 years, several different governments and militaries were taking all their production. The inter-shelter dome homes may be just what you've been looking for to provide affordable, energy-efficient, permanent, and attractive housing. These dome homes are prefabricated units that can be assembled in a few hours by 2 men with a ladder and simple hand tools. Check out the photos of these dome homes built in the Arctic, on tropical beaches, in suburban areas, and in forests. All the details, many photographs, and the pricing of the dome homes are listed on the left-hand side of my homepage at thelibertyman.com. I think you'll find these homes are not only attractive, but they're energy efficient, and a bonus. You can disassemble them and reassemble them as many times as you feel you need to. Pretty great, huh? Something that's very, very unique. Check them out at my website at thelibertyman.com. Thank you. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Monday, the 16th of October, visiting with Jimmy Gensling, proprietor of DesertEagleShooters.com. Jimmy, we got a caller on hold here, regular caller, Rick in Missouri. Good morning, Rick.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Rick.
John. Good morning, Jimmy. Hey, I have a defensive weapon with a pick rail that is waiting, actually, I think, for a light, which is what I had in mind the whole time. And I just, with respect to night vision and lights, one of the most aggravating things I've ever seen, besides Hillary's new book, is an LED a strobe shined in your eyes in the dark. And there, so maybe somebody like Streamlight would have one of these lights, one of the strobes, the high-intensity strobes that goes on the pick rail. But what I was wondering was, is there like a remote switch or something you can get back by somewhere in the area of the trigger? And if so, how is that accomplished?
Okay, yes, and yes. There's several different of the lights that we've carried. Right now, I'm not sure how our stock is on them. But most of them will have a strobe function on them as well, regular lights. But and then we've got a couple of them that are lights with built-in lasers. But the remote switching on that, let's see, two of the models that we've carried, they plug into the side, and little cable comes back with a depressed switch on it.
What keeps the cable from just getting tangled on brush and stuff? Are you gluing it, or how?
The way you route it.
Okay.
Depending on where you're mounting it. If you're mounting it for right-hand use, then, if it's on a rifle, I like to have mine up on the handguard, since I reach up and guard, which is near the light anyway. And I will take and put a couple of small tie wraps between the vent holes and handguard just to keep it tied back out of the way.
Okay. But, that sounds good. Well, what kind of price range is that for one of those? The most inexpensive one I think we carry is about $40, $45, somewhere in that neighborhood, and then they go up from there. Okay. Up to like what? 200? Oh, it is? On a light? Well, everything really, isn't it?
Surefire has got a couple of them out there that are in the $400 price range.
Wow, that is amazing. Who would have believed that? Okay.
Well, they also carry a lot of government.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Well, all right. I think you and I probably need to talk about a couple of those things later on. I'm liking the show. I appreciate it.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, Rick. We appreciate it. Well, call number is 800-313-9443.
One thing on the lights on weapons, I have a slight problem with. They are very, very beneficial. I'm more of of a fan of laser technology for sighting in that condition. But ladies and gentlemen, remember this. If you've got a light on your pistol or a light on your rifle and you're using it, I don't care if it's in training or actual bad guy or anything, you can find them. But also they are alerted to the fact that you're coming and exactly where you are. That's number one. Number two, whenever you shine the light on anything, you're muzzling it. So if your kid steps out of the doorway in the hallway and you shine the flashlight on him, you're also pointing your gun directly at them. So I am more of a fan of a detached light and carrying the light in my left hand and resting my shooting, or let's put it this way, carry the light in your forward hand.
Hold that thought. We got a break. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. We're continuing our energy cleaner promotion, which began August of 2016. In this promotion, you get to buy an energy cleaner, $70 off retail, and a mattress pad, 10% off retail. $200 of the purchase price of the energy cleaner goes to Republic Broadcasting. This is a great way to help get energy cleaners out to people who need them and have some financial issues to deal with. And, of course, a great way to support Republic Broadcasting. Here's what you do. Send in a postcard. My address is John Moore, P.O. Box 201, Davidsville, Missouri. We pick a postcard every 2 weeks. If your postcard is drawn, you get the chance to buy the energy cleaner, $70 off retail, and 10% off the mattress pads. Put your name and your address, your telephone number, and your email address on the postcard, and we wish you the best of luck. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, J.R. Moore here. As most of you know, my regular listeners, I offer energy cleaners for sale at my website. If you don't have a clue what I'm talking about, go to my website, thelibertyman.com. Educate yourself about these marvelous healing devices. We focus on pain mitigation and getting a great night's sleep. Arthritis pain, joint pain, back pain, doesn't matter. Keep in mind, I offer from me to you personally a 30-day money-back guarantee. That's what I do. Energy cleaners, $285, shipping included to American zip codes. You can educate yourself all about the energy cleaner right there at my website, the patent application, the wonderful testimonials. Be sure and check out the factory-made fitted mattress pads to go with the energy cleaner. Now, I offer from me to you personally a 30-day money-back guarantee. That's what I do. I have a toll-free order line, or you can order it right at my website at thelibertyman.com. That toll-free order line is 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. Thank you. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Monday, the 16th of October. My website is thelibertyman.com. We have new images there, posted in the last week, of continents with new coastlines. Scroll down the left side. We have a new video. This is back from the 1970s, and as I was telling Tim Spencer, only John Wayne could have done this. Only John Wayne. And it's the America the Beautiful, I believe, sung by a couple of 3 dozen plus, most of them incredibly popular stars, many of them since deceased. That is right at my website at thelibertyman.com. I think you'll really get a kick out of that. They're dressed up wearing period costumes, and I really like it. Okay, we're visiting with Jimmy Ginsling, the proprietor of Desert Eagle Shooters. That's deserteagleshooters.com. If you got a question or comment, give us a call. Jimmy, have you had a chance to watch that video yet, by the way?
No, I haven't.
John Wayne video.
I've got to make a point to do that this morning.
Yeah. To pull together that many huge stars for one deal like that was quite an effort, and I don't believe anybody else could do it. Well, let's continue. We're talking about night vision, ladies and gentlemen. If you have a question or comment about night vision, well, give us a call at 800-313-9443.
Going back to the handgun and rifle sights, John, with the just to use the term from Williams sights, the fire sight on those, they have the fiber optic sights that are set in, and the nice part about it is for so long they were really the selection of guns that they fit or were made for was very, very limited. And this year, with Williams coming out on it, we've got access and actually have in stock several that cover all of the Glocks now, the the new issue one for the military. My brain just quit. Anyway, if anybody's interested in those and also the rifles and everything, even a new one for the AR-15 that has the standard H-bar front sight, the combination front sight gas block. But if you're looking at a solution on that, ladies and gentlemen, go to Williams Gun Sight. WilliamsGunsight.com, and all not plural, but and look at what they've got, and then give us a holler on that. We're supposed to be able to get a link and some other information up on the webpage here soon. Got several things we've got to get up on the webpage. Notices, and I went and played around this weekend and found a few links that weren't working on it, so folks, we'll get those straightened out. But, going to the illuminated reticle and also light illumination on the on your handgun sights always makes a big difference in low light situations. We were talking about having flashlights on them and muzzling, your child or something steps out of the door on the hallway and you shine the flashlight on them where you're just pointing your gun at them.
Right.
Can be very disheartening, and your adrenaline's up, the chance for a mistake is there. What I like to do, and you see it in all the movies and everything, and there's an actual technical term for it that I cannot recall, but I hold my flashlight in my support hand, and that way, so if the button and everything is on the thumb end, the light is on the little finger end, and use it to view where I'm going, but I can rest my pistol hand on the wrist of my pistol hand on the wrist of the other one and follow the light. That way, if I do come up on a friendly or, the kid or the family dog or anything else that you want, that muzzle is eased up away from them. So even though the light's on them, you're not muzzling them and the potential of something bad happening. We never want that. The only thing that we want to shoot are things that we intend to destroy. And that's just a little food for thought there again to practice with and think ahead. Mentioned it just before we went to the break on that. With Antifa and Soros and Black Lives Matter and ISIS and on and on and on and on, the open threats and everything of November 4th, the things that happened in Vegas, what was almost happened in Chicago and New York. Ladies and gentlemen, John has mentioned it for years, and I've mentioned it quite often. The time to start preparing is yesterday. And it's not that hard to do. If you're going to order ammunition and everything, or you're going to go buy ammunition, add an extra box. Buy the calibers that you use the most. the 1,000 rounds of each caliber that you own is not too much ammo. A friend of mine asked me one time, how much ammo is too much? How much do I stockpile? And I explained to him that the amount of ammo you have is equivalent, in theory, to the amount of fuel in your airplane. The only time that it's absolutely critical is when you're on fire. So the ammo situation, think of it this way. If your brother, your sister, your dad, or your children, for that matter, have to relocate and they can't carry everything, and you are in a situation of riots and people are upset and destroying their neighborhoods and decide to want to go destroy your neighborhood, if the family is shooting the same type of ammunition and the same weapons or various weapons using the same ammo, the more you've got, the more that you have to support your team.
Exactly.
That's one of the training that... Go ahead.
We have a call here. We got Bob in Michigan. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Bob. How's the grade up north? Are you getting cold yet?
It was 32 degrees this morning. Brr.
Oh, yeah.
I've noticed a distinct lack of comment on infrared. Do you have any negativity or positivity or anything like that? I've got an ATN that's got a mini infrared mounted to the top of it. It's a first gen ATN, is it?
Right.
Uh-huh.
Infrared illuminator. Well,
yes. Is there any negative issues with that?
No. In fact, ATN was one of the first to put a variable power illuminator on theirs. The new ones that are coming out, you have 3, I think, maybe 4, have to look. Power.
This has 2.
And a good way to explain how that is beneficial, when we first were getting our deliveries, we'd been on a 7-month backorder hold on our ATN scope order. And when we got the release, and the reason for that was they were filling government contracts. So once they started shipping, and I started letting my customers know that had wanted one, that, hey, they're on their way, this is the estimated delivery date, one of the first individual, in fact, I think he was the first, he showed up after work at about 8 o'clock to pick us up. Chris, one of the guys, he works out in the oil field. And after he got it set up, got the profile set into it and everything, sighted in, a buddy of his down in South Texas invited him down to hunt hogs. And, man, this is what he'd been wanting. This is what he wanted it for. They're down there about 2 o'clock in the morning, and his friend was joking with him that, he invites him down for hog hunting, and all the hogs go on vacation. And his friend was looking at what Chris was looking at on his cell phone, because the scope will link to your cell phone or your iPad or anything else, so your spotter can see what you're looking at. And Chris was looking along down this fence line and noticed that on the other side of the fence line were mesquite trees and large brush and everything else. And he hadn't turned the illuminator on because the moon was out. He flipped the illuminator on, and since now it was illuminating underneath the brush, that's where all the hogs were. All the hogs were laying down there under the brush, and boom, he could see them. Before he couldn't because they were in the shadows. Ladies and gentlemen, all night vision has to have some form of light to illuminate your target. So by flipping on his IR light, boom, there's the hogs, because they were underneath that brush. If you have a target that is in the shadows and, let's say you've got a deep doorway or something that's 6, 7, 8 feet back in there like some of the older construction, and the skunk you've been looking for is sitting in that corner. Finest night vision in the world. Go across him and not even see him. And with the illuminator on, it lights him up so you can find him real quick. So, yeah, that is a very, very critical piece, and that's one thing that I love versus Night Force or anything. Those are all accessories that you can buy. And ATN, when you buy the outfit, you get an incredibly high-dollar, well-built IR illuminator as part of the kit. And at $599 for a 3 to 14 variable, complete with the IR, complete with the sunshade, all the accessories and everything that come with it, that's just an incredible price.
Now, can the opposition see IR if they're using IR? In other words...
Oh, yes.
Say again?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
They will
you'll be lit up like a football field, yeah.
That's one of the benefits of the old Gen 1. The Gen
I'm sorry,
1,
say that again, please?
That's one of the benefits of the old Gen 1 night vision. All of the newer, everything from Gen 2 up, when you turn it on, it automatically turns on the IR illuminator. On the original, the Gen 1s, and we've still got several of them, when you have two positions on the switch. One is on, that of course turns on the tube and all the inside parts and all of it, but the IR is off. And when you bring it to the second position, then your IR, your infrared illuminator, is lit up.
This must be pretty old, the one I have, because the IR is off. It's got its own switch mounted to the side of it.
Yes. No. That's the new version. That's the way they do things at ATN, and it's great because you can if you don't need the IR, you can take it off.
Okay.
But with the Gen 1 night vision, every police unit and sheriff's unit that I know of, and almost every one of the Border Patrol, all have at least one Gen 1 in the teams, because they'll pull up to a spot that they've got a report on. The guy will pull out the Gen 1 first and turn it on, let it warm up for a minute, and scan, because if anybody's out there that has night vision and is looking for them or watching them, he's going to know it. And the nice part about it is, with the Gen 1, you follow the IR back to the source, and you have your target. So even though the older Gen 1 are, quote-unquote, inferior, it goes back to exactly what John and I said at the very beginning of the show. Any night vision is better than no night vision. And Gen 1 actually has a very big place in the night vision field, because with being able to have the IR turned off, then you can sit there and locate another IR source. ATN does it by having a completely separate unit with separate light, separate power source, separate switch. So you don't use the IR unless you need to. But in your case, what you're talking about up there in the north, you've got those trees, you've got everything like that, and if your critter that you're looking for is back in the shadows of those trees, the chance of you seeing them is very, very limited. But by turning on your IR and scanning the same area, do it some evening and call back in and let us know your experience. I'd like to hear your point of view on it.
Okay. All right. On a side note, John, have you ever heard of a place called B as in Bravo, G as in Golf, Micro.com?
Negative. Who are they?
Okay. Well, it's a surplus electronics warehouse. I believe it's in Texas. But anyway, and CR123 batteries, if you get them at a drugstore, good grief, they're like $6-8 a piece. Mm-hmm. And BG has well, I got a whole laundry list of stuff down the left side of their webpage. But anyway, there's one that says batteries, and I found CR123s on there for 75 cents. And they had like thousands of them. And they're fresh. They're not 10 years old or anything. They're this one I'm looking at right now says 2018 on it. I think it's 2018. Yeah, it expires 2018. So I don't know how long one of these batteries is supposed to last, but anyway, I got a dozen of them.
Website right now. It looks like quite a selection of things. Looks like
all kinds of stuff.
Ham radio stuff there also, I hope.
That is BG Electrical? Is that
Micro.
Of it?
Micro.
BG Micro.
BG Micro. All right.
Okay, and if you give them your email, they'll send you periodical specials to give you even additional discounts on stuff that they've got a surplus of. They've got all kinds of stuff. So anyway,
into that. That's something I need to do, John. You're mentioning that is to get our towers back up and get all of our stuff back on. It's been down since the flood.
We have our last break. Stay tuned, Bob. Thank you for the call, and we'll be back after the break. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Monday, the 16th of October, visiting with Jimmy Ginsling, the CEO, proprietor of Desert Eagle Shooters. That's deserteagleshooters.com. All right, I got about 3 minutes here, Jimmy.
Well, something I'd like to bounce off of you, John, and we'll talk about it sometime coming up soon off the air. But in the near future, I would like, with your permission, to have a co-host one day, and that would be my bride, Teresa. She started off life as basically a city girl, and never introduced into the gun culture or handguns or anything like that and everything until we started dating and eventually got married. And her and I were talking about it over the weekend, just drifted into it 2 or 3 times about what she's learned, and, of course, she's looking at new guns and stuff and some of the things I'm doing. And bring her on and do a show with her, allow the...
Absolutely, sure, absolutely. Let's do that. Yeah. Next Monday's fine if you want to do it then.
Next Monday, I don't think we're going to be able to do it because of appointments. But,
okay.
We'll get it set up, and what I'm hoping is the ladies that may have been apprehensive about this or have questions about how she adapted to certain things, call in and get to talk to her on it.
Okay. Let's do that. Yep. Well, just keep that in mind, and when it's time, we'll do that and go from there.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, just be careful this week. Keep your heads about you. Watch what's going on around you. Make notes of things that change. Sometimes things change subtly, and sometimes they change rapidly. Be safe out there. James, we're going to keep Amanda in our prayers. Everybody remember her going into surgery tomorrow. And I guess we just got a beautiful fall week staring at us, John.
Well, that's what we're going to have here. Absolutely. And it's about time. Over the weekend, we had 90 degrees Saturday and 65 degrees for a high on Sunday.
On ours, we had a high, 85, and then yesterday it struggled to get out of 60s.
Right, very similar.
Made it out of 60s. And this morning it was 37. So fall is definitely here.
Oh, yes, absolutely. One of my favorite times of year. Let's enjoy thoroughly. Okay, Jimmy, we're pretty much out of time here. I want to thank you for being with us and look forward to having you back next Monday.
Thank you, sir, and I look forward to it always. Our callers make the show.
Okay. Tomorrow, first hour, we're going to have an interview with a gentleman who's helped put together a very interesting video. I believe all homeschoolers should have it. In fact, everybody should have it. It's an entertaining way to educate people about the Constitution, and it'll be a fun first hour. Hour two, we'll have Leon Green, who is going to be talking to us about doTERRA essential oils. Wednesday, of course, Professor McCanning, first hour, and the rest of the week as usual. In the meantime, get medical supplies, your energy cleaner, your essential oils now while you can, your firearms and ammunition. Never ever give up your guns. Have a fun, safe, productive day, and God bless America.